After the drama of their first day inside the International Space Station, the crew of Space Shuttle Atlantis awoke for Flight Day 6 Tuesday afternoon, eager to get busy with another full day's schedule of supplies transfers and maintenance tasks. For Commander Jim Halsell and pilot Scott Horowitz, the day started on the flight deck, where they fired the shuttle's steering jets 27 times over the course of almost an hour to raise the Atlantis ISS complex's altitude by an average of 10 miles. Similar reboosts are planned on each of the next 2 days, with a goal of leaving the station in the proper orbit for its scheduled rendezvous with the service module, Zvezda, in July. Mission Specialist Mary Ellen Weber began her day in the Spacehab module, preparing for the transfer of hundreds of pounds of supplies, from personal items and medical supplies for future long-duration crews to office supplies and exercise equipment, to move it onto the station, where Mission Specialist Jeff Williams is in charge of seeing that it's stowed in the proper locations in the Zarya control module and the Unity node. Maintenance and replacement of equipment topped the agenda for Mission Specialists Yuri Usachov and Susan Helms, who replaced a number of fans and smoke detectors in Zarya and completed installation of cabling for the module's Comparis telemetry system, which permits Russian flight controllers to communicate with the module when it is out of range of Russian ground stations. Prior to a series of interviews Tuesday evening, Halsell gathered his crew in the Unity module and sent a message on behalf of them all.
We'd just like to say how much of a privilege it is for us to be up here and to do this. And we represent thousands of people from many, many different countries who are participating in this very, very important and exciting program. And with those thoughts, I'd like to have Jim Voss and Susan and Yuri Usachev head on off to their duties in the FGB.
Asked about the conditions inside the station, Halsell reported that it was very comfortable and clean, and commented on the value of having Usachov, Helms, and Mission Specialist Jim Voss along on this mission to get an advance look at the place they'll be living for several months next year.
No, we've had no operational impacts at all as a result of poor air quality. The air has been just fine. It is true that when we first moved into the station, the room we're in here was slightly warm, but it cooled down just as soon as we were able to get all the hatches open and all the air ducts in place and the ventilation going. In general, the air quality has been outstanding, and with regard to the noise, I was surprised. I had heard everybody's comments about how to expect loud noises, and it is in fact quieter here than it is on board the shuttle, and the shuttle is quiet enough to meet all the OSHA standards. So we have not experienced any problems with regard to living conditions on board the station. And I know that the people who are here working on the station, the International Space Station crew number 2, it's been a very, very valuable experience for them to come up here to see what it's going to be like. So it's no longer a mystery. They know exactly what they're getting into, and they're enthusiastic about returning as a crew on board the station.
The astronauts also responded to questions that were more philosophical than operational. Williams about what it was like to make a spacewalk, and Horowitz on his feelings as the shuttle approached the station to link up to it.
It was everything I expected and more. It was just absolutely fantastic to go out there and view the station from outside, and to actually look at the rest of the crew inside the window. I actually snuck up on them at one point and surprised them and looked in the window. It was also just a magnificent view to see God's creation going by below.
Well, sure. My previous missions have been, shuttle only, worked with the Hubble telescope, but it wasn't another, if you will, vehicle for folks to live in. So here we went from what was the only vehicle that people could ride around the Earth to join up with a permanent outpost in space. And it kind of brought a flashback, if you will, to when I was a kid in 2001. And the scenes where you see the shuttle docking with the large station. This one's not nearly that big yet, but it's going to keep getting bigger over the next couple of years, and it's going to be quite a place to come visit.
Wednesday morning, Usachov, Helms, and Voss opened a floor panel in Zarya and replaced a third battery, along with its current converter unit and electronics controller. It will be charged and checked out over an almost 24-hour period. Russian flight controllers report that of the 2 new battery units installed Tuesday morning, the first has charged up as planned and is in excellent shape, and the second is being charged now. Replacement of a 4th of the module's 6th batteries remains scheduled for Flight Day 7, along with other maintenance work and the continuing transfer of supplies to prepare the International Space Station for the scheduled arrival of its first resident crew late this year.
Was for you. I only have eyes for you from Kathy.
Yeah, that's a special song to both of us. Thanks for doing that.
We're with you now. Good morning.
Our first television of the night, Mary Ellen Weber inside the SpaceHab double module at the rear of Atlantis' cargo bay, which is serving as the cargo hold for all of the equipment that she and her crewmates are in the process of transferring from the shuttle to the International Space Station. At the start of tonight's work, the crew had already transferred and had affixed to both the exterior of the station and transferred to the interior of the station almost 1,200 pounds of cargo. That represents 870 pounds of material that was transferred from the shuttle to the station last night, and 326 pounds of gear that was affixed to the station on Sunday night and early Monday morning by spacewalking astronauts Jeff Williams and Jim Voss.
Go ahead for ingress.
The node temperature is 78.7, dew point is 52.6, and we inspected both PMAs, and there is no condensation and no problems.
Thanks for that information.
So as we watch Jeff Williams inside the Zarya control module, Jim Halsell reporting very comfortable conditions both in Zarya and Unity, 73.5 degrees Fahrenheit in Zarya, 78.7 degrees in Unity. Very comfortable, very dry conditions in both modules of the International Space Station.
Linus, we're back with you, and the reboost is looking great.
The reboost of the International Space Station, this first night of 3 nights of such activity, got underway at 7:02 p.m. Central Time. A total of 27 pulses to be executed by Jim Halsell and Scott Horowitz to gently nudge the station to a higher altitude. Tonight, the goal is to reach a higher altitude of about 9.7 statute miles en route to an ultimate reboost of 28.5 by 24 statute miles, placing the station in a final altitude of 237.5 by 227 statute miles, the perfect altitude and trajectory for the arrival of the service module in July. This live television from the Zarya control module on the International Space Station showing Russian cosmonaut Yuri Usachov being assisted by Susan Helms in the replacement of several fan systems in Zarya. This all designed to further upgrade the ventilation system in the Zarya module to full capability.
guys look like you're having an awful lot of fun up there. The space station looks like a nice place to visit. Would you want to live there?
Well, we have 3 people here who are going to do just that in the next few months, and they are up here now to help us prepare the space station for the arrival of the first crew, and then they will follow as the second crew. As a matter of fact, because of those duties, they're going to have to depart right now. I just wanted to have an opportunity for you to see the whole crew space before they go out to continue their duties in the FGB. We're changing out batteries there, as I'm sure you're well aware. But before they depart, as a whole crew, we'd just like to say how much of a privilege it is for us to be up here and to do this. And we represent thousands of people from many, many different countries who are participating in this very, very important and exciting program. And with those thoughts, I'd like to have Jim Voss and Susan and Yuri Yusuchev head on off to their duties in the FGB.
All right. Now, has anybody felt at all queasy inside Zarya in particular when you get a lot of people in there? I know the last crew had some difficulties in this regard, and I know you've been watching the carbon dioxide fairly closely. Anybody had any symptoms?
No, we've had no operational impacts at all as a result of poor air quality. The air is fine. It is true that when we first moved into the station, the room we're in here was slightly warm, but it cooled down just as soon as we were able to get all the hatches open and all the air ducts in place and the ventilation going. In general, the air quality has been outstanding, and with regard to the noise, I was surprised. I had heard everybody's comments about how to expect loud noises, and it is in fact quieter here than it is on board the shuttle, and the shuttle is quiet enough to meet all the OSHA standards. So we have not experienced any problems with regard to living conditions on board the station. And I know that the people who are here working on the station, the International Space Station crew number 2, it's been a very, very valuable experience for them to come up here to see what it's going to be like. So it's no longer a mystery. They know exactly what they're getting into, and they're enthusiastic about returning as a crew on board the station.
I'm curious, does it get to a point where it's difficult to kind of navigate around as all this stuff goes to and fro?
Well, we've spent about a year and a half training for this flight, and a year and a half understanding what we have on board, what's on station already, and trying to manage it all. So hopefully we will prepare to do that. So far, we've been able to know where everything is and keep everything in its right place. But it is true, things can be very disorienting, especially when you come through all these different hatches. When you first enter a new module, it takes you a few seconds to get your bearing and figure out which way is which way is the ceiling and which way is the floor.
So I'd like to talk a little bit about that real successful EVA. You and Jim were extremely focused to the point where you were even ahead of schedule. Scott there had to tell you to slow down a little bit, and you were able to get in a couple of more tasks. What do you think contributed to you being able to work so quickly, and what extra tasks were you able to squeeze in?
Well, certainly, first and foremost, it's we were able to get through it as efficiently and quickly as we did because of the work that the team did on the ground, both here in the U.S. and Russia, to get us ready. All the training in the NBL, the people that put the hardware together and the operations together, all pull together to make it a successful EVA. I would also add to that that for the most part everything went as planned, so we didn't have any unexpected surprises. The OTD, the first U.S. crane that we repaired, the solution for that works the first time. We had a backup plan if it didn't work, but so that working the first time put us ahead of schedule, and that sort of set the pace for the whole EVA.
And Scott, if I may turn to you now as pilot, a sense of change of perspective as well upon combining with the space station. Any change in perspective?
Well, sure. My previous missions have been, shuttle only, worked with the Hubble telescope, but it wasn't another, if you will, vehicle for folks to live in. So here we went from what was the only vehicle that people could ride around the Earth to join up with a permanent outpost in space. And it kind of brought a flashback, if you will, to when I was a kid and saw 2001. And the scenes where you see the shuttle docking with the large station. This one's not nearly that big yet, but it's going to keep getting bigger over the next couple of years, and it's going to be quite a place to come visit.
This is Mission Control Houston. This live television now from the Zarya Control Module, part of the International Space Station, the first component to be launched for the International Space Station back on November 20th, 1998, showing Russian cosmonaut Yuri Usachov on the upper left-hand side of your picture, Susan Helms directly below on the lower portion of your screen, and on the right, astronaut Jim Voss as they begin the procedures involved with the disconnection of cables and connectors for battery block number 3 under the floorboard of the Zarya module.
Houston for SSD Momo.
Ready to copy.